Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first stream of Think, Dream, Do. This is the first episode one, why I started my YouTube channel. And also, it is a personal story through anxiety that I have dealt with in the past and seeking self help and my journey of discovering how I can help other people. So if you're just joining right now, this is the very first live stream of Think, Dream, Do. And it's all about why I started the channel. So whether this is your first time here or you've been part of the community for a while, I'd like to personally thank everyone for showing up. So this stream is going to be a little different. Today, I want to get real with you. I want to share something personal, something that's been a big part of my life, and the reason why I started my motivational and inspirational channel. Because believe it or not, I didn't always feel confident. I know I may come across with a glossy confidence as I am doing these videos, but I always wasn't confident. I didn't always feel calm or motivated. In fact, it started with panic attacks in high school. I was just a regular student, but inside, I was struggling in high school. I would sit there in the chair and anxiety would come out of the middle of nowhere and just hit me like a wave. I'd look around and I would say, everybody seems fine. Why do I feel like I got to get out of this room? It was scary because you're self conscious, especially when you're in high school. You're sitting there like, oh, somebody's going to watch me. Somebody's going to think I'm weird. They're all going to be talking about me after class. So, this anxiety thing was a very big issue. And what I didn't know at first was my heart started racing. I felt dizzy. I felt like I couldn't breathe. It was total panic. But the silver lining is eventually I got help. I worked with a counselor. I began reading, and I mean really reading about self help. You know, a lot of self help books, psychology, breathing techniques, mindfulness. I really went deep because I wanted to beat this anxiety. I wanted to beat this panic. I didn't know where it was coming from. I wanted to get control of it. Now, this is interesting. The more you do try to get control of it, sometimes the panic fights a little harder because what's happening is you're internally delving in a little deeper and you're fighting it rather than riding it out. If that makes any sense, you got to ride it out rather than try to fight it. Just be confident, say, okay, don't know where this came from, but it's not going to last forever. It's going to eventually end. So essentially, I slowly started to understand myself. I learned tools, how to manage panic attacks. I talked myself through them and I stayed grounded. And it wasn't survival, it was, in fact, education. Thank you for everybody that's now joining. If you've just joined us, this is the first episode of Think, Dream, Do. And essentially, it's about why I started the channel and the thought process behind it. We're going to get into some interesting stuff, you know, especially like when I mentioned to family and friends as to why I started the channel in the first place and some of the strange feedback that I received. So, and I'm having a nice hot cup of peppermint tea. It's always good for the tummy and good for the mind. And if you put a little sugar in it, it's even better. So, these life lessons that I learned a long time ago, they never left me. because I kept in a constant cycle of learning and trying to achieve things to help myself out. And essentially, it was able, I was able to come up with enough knowledge that I felt confident to help other people out. I might not be always the best advice giver, but my heart is always in the right place. I promise you. And sometimes I can come off a little crass too, but I assure you, everything that I talk about, it is from my heart and from my own experiences. So, and talking about that, this is what sparked the channel. The channel is very young. I've only started it a few months ago, but it's been a long time coming. I've always been giving people advice. I'm the talky, chatty one, and sometimes I say, oh, I'm not a social fly, but you know, I am, because I just love. I'm very passionate about helping people. So I understand that there are a lot of people struggling in science, in not science, in silence, with anxiety, with self doubt, with feeling stuck. And, I thought to myself, why am I keeping all of this to myself? So that's when the seed was planted. So I didn't start the channel for fame. I started it because I felt like I had to. Because if there's just one person out there that hears something I'm saying and feels seen, then you know what? It's all worth it. You know, I hit record for the first time. Nothing fancy, no studio, no big production, just my voice and a desire to serve. And you know what? Since then, I've never looked back. So let me be real with you. Not everyone understood when I said, hey, I'm going to start this YouTube channel, everybody. And I'm going to do it on motivation. I'm going to do it on inspiration. You know, I'll never forget the looks. I know family's supposed to be supportive, friends are being supportive, but they didn't stop the weird looks like, what do you mean YouTube? And I said, you know what? This platform gives me a advantage to reach people on a global scale. And all I'm doing is sharing some of the same experiences and some of the same methods that I have used for years on how to work out problems, you know? So let's just say the reactions that I received from family were a little less interesting. Some said, "Wait, you you're not Tony Robbins." Others joked that it's just a phase he's going through. I even got asked, "Who do you think you are to give advice?" And I said, "Hey, wait a minute here. This is my passion." So I have to admit, I questioned myself, but then I remembered I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to be real because I lived it, I learned it, and I am still growing. You know, you really do never quit growing. That's an important thing right there. You don't. And that's the beautiful thing about life, with the experiences and life lessons. And, I can tell you right now about one of the turning points in my life was, it's been quite a few years ago, but it was one of the most vital things that I was just kind of, I don't know if I was manifesting it, but I ended up joining the group Amway. And I said, I don't want anything. They're just selling stuff. Well, I went to one meeting and suddenly I'm surrounded with all these motivational speakers and people that were, go getters, goal setters. And there's like, you need to read this book. You need to read that book because it's going to make you better. At selling, it's, even if you don't do anything here, it's going to make you better in life. It's, better communication skills. And I said, what? So I started going week by week, and I said, wow, this is fantastic. And if I don't even sell anything, this is a great place. So one of the diamonds took me under their wing, and he said to me, I'll never forget. He says, I don't need you to sell anything. He said, just keep coming for the meetings. He said, a lot of people just do that. He says, because you're surrounded by successful people. And, sometimes people feel like they're a big fish in small water. And I think it's always important to surround yourself with people who intimidate you, because those are the people that are going to push you forward. You can stay stationary and say, oh, I'm the king of the hill. No, when you get around those people, they show you that you need to improve yourself. And they're also there to be supportive, which is it's just a wonderful experience. So really, whatever, anyone's opinion on Amway, I'll say this: the culture of growth, the community, the constant emphasis on personal development, it was truly, truly inspiring. Truly. So, and these motivational speakers, some of them had built their lives from nothing, and they weren't just talking at you, they were talking to you. So this was the first time that I saw it was possible to speak, because I saw these people do it too. People building their lives on purpose, on passion, helping others. And I said, wow, this is it. This is what I want to do. So fast forward years later, I decided to take that advice. But all the way through, all the way through, I've been practicing everything that I was taught then. And, life, especially now, we live in a time and period where everything is moving at such a fast pace. Sometimes it's nice to have, you know, a channel like mine to keep yourself centered, or somebody like a guru, a, a life coach, somebody to keep you around, keep you centered. A great family support system. If you don't have a great support system right now in place, look for a great support system. There are many people out there, but what you have to do is you have to reach out and you have to say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Could you give me a hand? You know, look in chat rooms or whatever. There's going to be some toxic people, of course, and people that are going to try to rattle. But there are a lot of people out there, because we are human and we really survive on the communal experience, the community. So here we are, the channel, which I'm so excited about. So far, miraculously, I've been able to reach people I never imagined I would ever meet, from different countries, people who speak different languages, people on different time zones. I've had people DM me and comment saying, hey, that video really helped me get out of bed today, or I really needed to hear that now. How wonderful is that? How wonderful is that? Because, you have to think, what are the most important things in life? It's, what you leave behind, and, how you treat people. It's so simple. It's really so simple. So I've been able to develop, some associate friendships, and being able to help people. It's so wonderful. It's almost humbling in a way. It's a beautiful thing. And, you know, something I've said sitting in a little room, just speaking from my heart, being able to reach people from just there, it's just truly magical. It truly is a magical experience. And that, to me, is one of the most satisfying things in the world, because it's bigger than me. This is purpose. And every single one of you who listens, who shares, who messages, you are part of that. And this is what that means to me. Just a second. I'm going to get another drink here. I'm getting dry mouth from all this talking. So I started the channel to basically serve others. And the truth is, it's also helped me grow at the same token. So when I speak about anxiety, motivation, fear, growth, I'm not preaching from a mountain. I am speaking from the path that I essentially started on. So every step I take, every insight I share, it's rooted in a lifetime of falling down, getting back up, But the most important thing is never giving in. Grit, never stopping, never folding to the pressure. Just keep forward, keep going. I know a lot of us out there, it's very easy to just kind of give up, you know, and revert back to old habits, bad habits and things. And again, I go back to that support system. You really need to seek out a good support system. They're out there. So that's where we're at. You need to seek out a support system. And hey, if you're new and you're just joining me, subscribe to the channel. So, again, I want to say hi to everybody that's joined. And if you're still here, I want to thank you. Seriously, I want to thank you for letting me be part of your journey. And thank you for taking the time to spend Friday afternoon with me. So, this community is just getting started. So, there's a lot of topics I still want to talk about, self worth, fear of failure, goal setting, mental health, healing, all of it. But for now, just know this, that you have value. You have something to give. And your story, no matter how messy or uncertain it may be, you can inspire somebody else. So you yourself never hold back. And if you ever thought about doing something bold, like yourself starting a channel or sharing your story, this may be your sign. It's not about being perfect. It's really not. It's about being real. So you must keep growing and keep going. That's what it's all about. So, inspiration, dedication, motivation, these are the things that you must surround yourself with. These are the most important things in life. Love, like one of my favorites, Ringo Starr, peace and love. Two things, peace and love. He always says that, and it always kind of reverberates with me, peace and love, because you really can't strip those two things. It's it's two things that are so valuable that you don't even have to really even elaborate on it. It's just a powerful, powerful thing. So I want to thank everybody again for joining the channel, for following me thus far. I have so much stuff, so much good content that I want to share with you. I have a lot of scheduled content. I'm working busy around the clock. I'm so excited to share everything, all of these stories and little helpful tips with you. A lot of people say, how do you come up with all this stuff? Well, I'm constantly thinking about all this stuff. So I sit down, I write a little script out, and I say, "Ooh, that's not right," or "Oh, that." So I edit it, and then I come up with to try to polish as much as I can. But I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm really not. What I'm trying to do is to be able to people, reach people, make new friends. That's always a nice thing. Make new friends around the world. I've had the, I've had the fortune of being able to travel. And, I just got back from Jamaica. I met some beautiful people in Jamaica at the resort. Before Jamaica, I was in Dominican Republic about 3 months before that. Now, Dominican Republic, I've been there quite a few times, and I've actually developed a familia with the staff at the resort that we stay at. Such a kind and wonderful group of people in the Dominican Republic and Jamaica. You know, they, both of those countries, sometimes they get a bad rap, for crime and whatnot. You're going to have crime anywhere. It doesn't matter where you go. You're going to have crime anywhere. If you go looking for trouble, you're going to find it. But 99% of everybody I've ever been around has been so pleasant and so delightful and so humble, so humble. And, no matter where I go, whatever, wherever life's path takes me, The same fundamental thing is true. Everybody's looking for love and understanding. And if you can break that, little bit of ice with them and get talking, it's wonderful to discuss challenges and be able to work through those challenges together, even with a stranger that you've just met. Why not? Why not? Why keep up those walls? You know, if you're talking to someone about simple talk about the weather, sports, today's topics, and if you stumble on something that's interesting, why not say, "Hey, have you ever been through this?" I think that's important. I think that we kind of isolate ourselves in a matter of speaking with people because we're worried about what will they think of us, how will they judge us. So really the point I'm trying to make is to be as open and transparent as you can. I personally, I do that all the time. I'm very, very transparent with with all aspects of my life. Here I am. Like me. Don't like me, of course I would prefer you like me. So, um, so again, if you're just joining us, I just wanted to say again, thank you so much for joining the channel. And I'm also talking about a lot of the reasons I started the channel. I suffered from panic attacks when I was in high school. I had anxiety. I for a short time, I was dealing with depression. I didn't even know that I was even depressed. Didn't even know. But what was happening was I was getting inside my head too much, inside my own headspace. And with the help of one of the organizations like Amway, because of all the motivational speakers and all that good energy that I was around, it helped me through it tremendously. Family was there too, but those self-help books and other guidance from the organization, they helped me out tremendously. And it's interesting, we really don't internally think what's going on inside our head. A lot of the times we just kind of, it's almost like a lot of people are on autopilot through the life. You just kind of float through, and things happen along the way and you're like, oh, that's fine, you know but a lot of those things can start to add up as well. And when they're not dealt with, they can become problematic. So it's best to hit these things head on, challenges, and find out what's going on and try to resolve it. Because essentially, what you're doing is you are kind of teaching yourself a good practice of, when I have a situation, oh, I've been through this. Let's try to walk through this a little bit better. Let's do it better the next time. I have probably 10,000 examples to give you. Sometimes you might say something, something might slip out that might, you know, seem offensive. So immediately catch yourself, say, hey, I, I didn't mean to be offensive. You know, please forgive me. You know, that's just manners. Not be guarded and say, well, I'm sorry, you didn't like what I had to say. So, but thank you so much. I see there are a few more people that joined us, and I'm just going to take a quick drink of this tea. Peppermint tea, it's lovely. So, again, if you're just joining us, I just wanted to say thank you for either joining the channel or at least joining me here on the live. Um, the channel's very new. The channel's maybe a few months old now, and I'm so very excited for the future of the channel. I have so much content to bring you, so many little videos, long form videos, shorts, lives, tons and tons of information to share with you, because my whole goal, my whole intention is to help you grow, heal, and rise. That's my motto. Grow, heal, and rise. If you're looking to grow, heal, or rise, subscribe, because we will walk this path together. And honest to goodness, I truly mean that. We will walk this path together if you allow me. So, another interesting thing I want to bring up is I am very, very open to suggestions. I am. I'm always looking on what everybody's asking me, comments. And if there's something you would like me to talk about that I may offer some insight on, please, please send me a comment. We're going to be putting up uh, an email soon. I apologize, I haven't put up an email yet, but you can always leave me a comment if there's something that you would like me to speak about. But, and if there's anything more detailed, this is why I would like to put up the email address. So if there's anything more detailed you'd like to ask me, I will always, always reply to all emails, because I take a great interest in getting rid of those nasty little problems that we can sometimes encounter in life. So if I can help you, I promise you, I will do my earnest best to offer you some insight. You know, that's another interesting thing. We listen, we learn, and you can't expect to just kind of assimilate all of the information at once and then just turn it around. Sometimes you need to kind of let it sink in a little bit. And it's okay if you're making mistakes, because we're human. The best part of making mistakes is we will eventually learn from them, either the hard way or the easy way, right? I know, everybody has learned, sometimes the hard way, and it's not so fun, but it is just a part of life. It's like children. Children sometimes they learn the hard way. And the parents are there. Please don't do that. Please don't, and they still do it. Please don't do that. Please don't, and they still do it. So, but um, I wanted to hone in back on more reasons why I started the channel. Again, starting the channel was not for fame, glory, or any of that nonsense. I just think the YouTube platform is such a beautiful and it's such a great opportunity you have if you have something earnest and something kosher to offer. YouTube is here providing a free platform that you can reach folks on a global scale. And again, it's wonderful some of the comments that I've received, of the one person that's on in my Instagram group saying, you know what, James, you helped me get out of bed today. That to me was so special to hear that. I had another friend saying, I, I must have you in my life at all times. You are my touchstone for existence. And I said, hey, you know, I might give you some advice, but don't prop me up. Don't prop me up that high. But it was nice. It was nice. It was nice to hear that, because after all, I really do work hard. You can see I'm very prolific, and in my content, I don't spend a lot of time editing. I don't, because I want it to be as original. I want everything to be as original as possible, because we have all this AI out there, and as soon as you click on something that's AI, you're like, whoa, that's AI. And I'll tell you, AI is here to stay. We're not gonna, it's beneficial in some things, but we're still people, and we still want realism. You know, so I don't spend a lot of time doing a lot of edits. I don't, do a lot of fluff with my videos. My whole intention is to try to reach you and see how I can help you today. It's interesting. You come up with these topics, and you're like, how to beat self-doubt in 55 seconds, you know? Yeah, it's a little wild. It's a little, high, like, whoa, how can I do that? But what I'm doing is I'm trying to plant the seed that it is possible to do these things. And yes, you can do it a little more speedily than you think. But, again, we wake up in the morning, you know, and even before our feet probably hit the ground, we probably asked ourselves probably 100 questions, like, what am I going to wear today? Uh, am I late? Oh, I'm on time. What am I going to eat for breakfast? What am I going to wear today? Is everybody happy? How am I going to pay this bill? These are things, our minds are overloaded with stuff. So that's another topic in itself, you know. But again, these are all little blocks, and the overthinking, the trying to control these things, if you can get perspective on them, will help you have a better life. But it does take a little training. It can seem ugly at first. You say, oh, all this focus on myself. It's like a magnet. It's like, oh my gosh, I never knew I was such a terrible person. You're not. But what you are doing is you're kind of rifling through, whoa, I kind of never dealt with this, you know. Important. Take one thing at a time. Take one thing at a time. You know, I guess why I have you here right now, one of the great things that you can do every day is to start being grateful. Say, hey, like right now, I'm grateful for this cup of tea, because there are people in the world that are suffering. They don't even have proper water supply. It's awful. It's an awful thing. So be grateful for things. Be grateful for the fact that you can get up out of bed and just walk to the kitchen and get yourself something to eat. There are people suffering from physical ailments. So being grateful for things, you're kind of teaching yourself, happiness, and essentially, happiness. So I should be happy for this. And pretty soon your mind will start to grab these things and say, oh, I should be happy for this. And then suddenly, I don't know how long it'll take to kind of start this whole thing for betterness, but eventually you catch yourself and you say, wow, I'm actually starting to feel a little happier lately. Why is that? Maybe you're starting to listen to James here, I Think, Dream, Do. So, but anyway, what I'm essentially doing with all these videos is I'm really just planting a seed there, something to think about. Something to think about. And not everything is going to resonate well with everybody. I get that. But the things that do, I can only hope. So that's the other reason why I'm trying to be a little more prolific. I'm trying to come up with something, a little variety for everyone. If you're struggling, if you're upset about things, just little tips and tricks. You know, Here's a great story. I just thought about this off the top of my head. Now, this is kind of metaphorical, but I knew a handyman, and he was getting calls from other handymen, like he was the guru of them all. And I asked him, I said, why are all these people calling you for? I know you can do a lot of stuff, but other handyman? Wow, it's like you're the handyman, guru. And he said, you know what? Let me let you in on a little secret. He said, the reason they're calling me is, yeah, I know how to do these things on a little bit higher level. But how did I learn to do all these things? He said, I must have had every rotten thing ever happen to me on a job, circumstances, problems he had to work himself out of. He didn't have help. He fought and did these things to try to get himself out of trouble. So he got paid for the job. You can take it and you can apply that to yourself. You know, the things that you have happen, you can use, and then once you obtain that wisdom, you can pass it on to the next person. Because again, one of the most beautiful things in life is when you're able to help someone, lift somebody up by simple words. That I think is the key. That may be one of the best keys to life, is lifting someone up by words. Not telling them little white lies or anything, but just lifting them up, making them feel a little bit better. Because in return, it's going to make you feel better as well. Because you're doing the, what humanity has, we're on the earth to practice peace and love, you know? So again, if you're starting to follow me here, that some of the simplest things in life are those things: peace and love. So I think that I am so grateful right now that everyone has joined me. And I have been able to possibly reach a few people from my community. But I just wanted to say, have faith in me here. In the next coming up months, I'm going to have a lot of new content, a lot of strong content. And some of it may be personal, and some of it may be, I don't sugarcoat anything. I really don't. But, anyways, my intention is to help you. So I wanted to thank everybody again for joining the channel, staying with me here today. I'm so grateful that you've came to the live and taken the time to listen to me here. I'm just utterly, utterly grateful. And I wanted to thank you. And again, reassure you that I have a lot of great content coming up. So stick around. If you can, put me on notify if you'd like to get your daily dose of videos, because every day I will be putting up videos, and I'm intending to do at least a few lives every week. So again, in the comments, if you'd like me to do more lives or less lives, hey, please let me know. I just love the feedback, because again, this is really, honest to goodness, this is really not about me. This is about you. This is about the community. I'm just here to try to help everybody get and do a little bit better every day. That's my whole intention. Honest to goodness, that is my whole intention. So I wanted to thank everybody again for joining me today. And I look forward to our next live. And I hope that you've taken something interesting with this that you may be able to apply with your life. Thank you so, so much. And I look forward to seeing you again. And as I always say, if you're on a journey to grow, heal, or rise, hit that subscribe button, because I am going to be here with you. This is our journey together. And I am here to help you. Because if you can think it, you can dream it. And if you can dream it, by goodness, you can do it. Thank you so much. And I will see you again. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.